So, dude.
Hey, man.
How you been?
Great.
We've had a pandemic between us. We haven't seen each other since really the start.
It's been a while. I feel it's been good in a way, because then it's like, you know, the next time you see them, you really appreciate it.
Like, you didn't die.
Dude, that was literally like the whole, like, opening thing to at least everyone I saw on Sunday at Stockies.
Yeah, congratulations. Your immune system's up to scratch.
I was like, yo, we made it. We didn't die. How great are we?
Yeah, because last time we were talking, I think it was either just starting or something like that.
I heard it.
But yeah, how you been?
Not too bad. I was playing shows before, and then it was just all subtle how it went. Just, hey man, you're going to be flying out to these places to play a show. And then 2 days later, we're now closing all, like, borders, all this shit. I'm just like...
But, like, this is, like, talking to people, like, nothing like this has happened in our lifetimes, like,
fuck no.
Parents' lifetimes, like, no one saw it coming. And I was kind of lucky, I guess, because I'd already kind of stepped away, or I was slowly drifting away from the music scene. It didn't really affect me as much, but, like, there must be a lot of people hurting who have gone without an income, really, for what, 8 months, 9 months?
Yeah, dude, it sucks, man. Like, I had a conversation with a few, you know, friends of mine that are in the industry hard, like, working producers is that, you know, making music's their main source of income. And then getting told, like, you know, I was getting paid, you know, let's say, like, I was getting, like, 10 grand a month, and now they're getting down to, like, 2. Yeah. Just off the pure fact that no one's buying anything because there's nowhere else.
And, you know, no one's booking them, no one's going out to live shows. Like, it's not just the artists themselves that are affected, it's the venue owners, it's the bartenders, you know, bartenders, security, the doormen, everyone. There's employees. It literally employs so many people. So it was. I know I was looking at it kind of from the sidelines, thinking, "Geez, that is rough." And then, you know, I don't want to get political on you, but you've got Suncorp open to 50,000 people, and you're only allowed, what, 100 people at an event?
Well, like, I don't know what's the whole... Like, I'm really bad with keeping up with shit, because I'm just really... I feel eventually heading into next year, you're just going to start seeing things slowly go back to normal. Obviously, nothing's going to be the same necessarily. Like, we made this ongoing joke yesterday. Like, we were at a show, and, you know, typical DJs, you know, saying, you know, 3, 2, 1, jump, put your hands up. All the boys that I was with, they were like, put your hands up. And go, only if they've been sanitized thoroughly for 30 seconds. Social distance.
3, 2, 1, put your mask on.
Yeah. Put your mask on for Detroit.
But yeah, like, when you think about where we started, really, to where it is now, like we were doing, what, 1,500, 2,000 people house parties in a backyard. Like...
Police loved it.
Yeah, my greatest memory of those days was getting a call from my dad saying, hey, are you DJing a party at, I think it was, where was it? Somewhere.
Harley.
Something like that. Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, why is that? He's like, I'm watching it. And I was like, what do you mean you're watching it? He's like, you're on the news. And sure enough, there's a police helicopter filming us going around. Like, God, there is no way that's ever going to come back.
Nah.
There's no way
also, I feel like, I don't know, I mean, I haven't gone to a proper house party in so long. Yeah. But in saying that, I feel that the newer generation, they're not as phased to do crazy, like, you know when we say, like, man, like Project X type shit. Yeah. Now these kids are like, what's that? And I'm like, oh,
how have you not seen Project X?
Yeah. Like, I guess it's just the different, you know, different directions social media and out here, you know. Some kids out here be, like, when we were young and, like, 15, 16, it would be like, yo, we're all going to lie to our parents, say that we're going to crash at our one mate's place. And that one mate's place so happened to have parents that were cool enough to let us go to these parties. Yeah. Sorry, Mom. But now I feel with, like, social media and shit like that, and, like, There's kids out there that are like 14 that have like just mad money from like flipping shoes and shit. Just like there's different ways of kids being like in.
I think it's also like they're being exposed to everything. Like, you know, like we were at the very, very early days of YouTube, and you know, there wasn't really like, this is how you can make $1,500 flipping shoes. Yeah. Like there wasn't. It was just like cat videos or like fails. Like that was the extent.
Also like live streaming. Back then, I think this is something that will eventually be like just those like forgotten things. Is those parties that were word of mouth. There was like, if you knew, you knew. Now it's like, oh, we're at this party, and it's like, I don't know.
No, I definitely. But then in that like early phase of like when Facebook started, like I think people started realizing like, holy shit, you can remember the Facebook famous people, and it used to be one of these people would throw a party and just ruin like a church town hall or something like that.
Yeah, Vulture Street.
Yeah, like
you don't see that. You don't see that shit anymore.
Where the police and fireys came in and they said, "Oh, you haven't got enough fire exits." That's why they kicked us out.
Weird enough, man. The amount of times where I almost got arrested for just being there.
Yeah.
Like, I will always have to try and explain myself to them and be like,
"Well, have you been arrested?" Because I have.
I haven't. But I was put in cuffs. They didn't put anything down. Like I didn't get taken
like no
anywhere.
charge?
No charge or anything.
Yeah,
I was just
thing.
detained. They reckon so what happened was, I don't even want to say this shit. Basically, I was doing a house party in a dodgy ass neighborhood, and there was actual people around the neighborhood who were like, I would assume just bad people, because apparently cops were going to that house all the time. Like whilst we were setting up for this party, there was already police officers outside, assuming that it was for us, but it was for next door. And we're all just like, oh, wrong place. What the fuck? Set the set the place up, and then play the gig. A lot of unknown people come through. Hey, who are you? Fuck off. Fuck you. Let's fight. Next thing you know, bottles are getting flown left, right, and center, to the point where there's a full-blown riot outside of this house party that I'm doing. I have to basically guard my gear. There's people out there that are just strictly there to have a biff, and there's some that are just like, oh well, everyone's doing crazy stuff, let's start breaking shit. And then eventually, when everything started getting quieter, I guess, cops, a lot of police officers started coming out the front. Obviously, I stayed in the back of the house, just holding my stuff, just trying to pack it down as fast as I can, while my mate's trying to get the car that's parked 5 streets down, because he was not wanting to have his car, further down, whatever.
That's for anyone who's a mobile DJ or done house parties, that bit, either right when you finished your gig and you're trying to pack your car, or it's escalated to a point where you go I am not comfortable with my gear getting trashed. Let's try and get this away. That is such a dangerous point. Yeah,
it's a very vulnerable thing, because for me, luckily we had our stuff sort of in places where it's pretty good where it needs to be. In regards to say all the cords are in this massive box. And it has a clip-on, snap-on box clip, so it's unplug as much shit, I'll sort it out later, grab the decks that are inside the box, sweet. So it's basically just condensing things. But at
any point, you could be going loading your car and then yoink.
Yeah, and basically at the end of that story, people running in and out, cops were coming in and out. Next thing you know, I'm still packing my stuff, but they think I'm actually taxing the shit. So they straight away, put your hands on the ground, yada, yada, yada. And they didn't pull no guns, but they had a flashlight and fucking, yelling at me. So I just fucking hands down. They put my hands in cuffs, and I'm just saying, hey man, I'm just trying to put my gear down. I was just the DJ for the night. I'm not doing anything. And then they sort of was like, what? They're yeah. Just oh, they were kind of startled, because obviously I was 15 at the time, 14, 16.
That's as long as you're calm, they're
I
like,
didn't yell or be like, oh, get the fuck off me. I was like, yo, I'm just...
Like, I'm compliant, whatever, but like, I'm the DJ.
Yeah, well, that was it. Like, I learned that although it's, people say, well, does it always work, bro? It's like, I just stayed calm, didn't disrespect them, and just sort of said, hey man, I'm just I got paid to come here to play. They full try to give me the shakedown, like, we could easily arrest you for breaking and entering, being on a private property that isn't, just all this shit, just random shit. And I just said, look,
I'm meant to be here.
Here are the messages. Luckily, my friend that was doing this, like, that party stuff, Bray, he was, he had a legitimate,
and, well,
number and stuff.
Bray is obviously extra because his parents.
Well, exactly. They're police officers too, but it's like, even though, like, even him, he like knew a way to make it look semi-legitimate to the point where I can get away with how young I was. Because, bro, no, you see a kid dressed like I was, well, kind of am still.
Just more wrestling material.
Gang. Love and wrestle. Yeah, but you don't see that shit anymore.
No.
Well, not that I can see. I mean, if I see it, I would assume like social media would have it more now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I had in all places. I was DJing in Ipswich out at.
Speaking of Ipswich, shout out to the boys at 6 Degrees who do a lot of their stuff, because that studio is right down there.
Oh, mad.
That studio at the very end there.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I was out at Ipswich DJing at Club Metro. I think it was Club Metro.
I remember that.
And yeah, anyway, finished my set, done for the night. I walked across the road, jumped in a taxi, and we were like pulling away, and this cop car comes flying down, handbrake turn, right in front of the taxi, and I'm thinking, geez, this taxi guy must not have indicated or something, like, what's going on? But no, the cops like come up to the back of me and go, get out of the fucking car now! And I'm like, whoa, what's going on? So I get out of the car, they throw me up against the taxi, chuck me in handcuffs, and then they put me on the side of the road sitting down, and I was like, oh shit, alright, okay, something's gone terribly wrong.
Yeah, what the fuck?
And they go, you've just been in a brawl and you're fleeing the scene. And I was like, sorry, what? They go, yeah. And I was like, nah, I worked there, but, well, my hands were behind my back, couldn't point, but I worked there. I've just finished my, set, I'm going home. And then they again, I was pretty calm about it. Like, they kind of clued on, like, hang on a minute, this person's supposedly just been in a bar fight. He should be a lot more worked up, and if he's fleeing, he should be, wanting to get out of there.
Facts.
Yeah, I was just like, yeah, okay, all right, well, you do what you got to do. And they did take me back to the station. They put me in an interrogation room.
That's so whack, man.
And the whole time, I was just like, yeah, at what point do I get to leave? And they're like, well, once we've cleared you from the scene, once we've got, say that you weren't a contributing factor, then you can go. I'm like, yeah, no, that's fair enough, whatever. And I was in the police station probably about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, and then sure enough, they go, oh yeah, we reviewed the footage, it wasn't you. And I was like, yeah, well, I could have told you that, but, and I was like, oh, just out of curiosity, what was your description that you were going off? And this was an all-trap dubstep night at Metro, and they go, white male, black clothing, 6 foot. And I'm thinking, that's every male in the club. Like, you might as well arrest everyone, because everyone fit that description.
Yeah, that is
but again, just be calm, and I think that, it's just, but kudos to the police. They did apologize and they drove me home. So,
seriously,
they didn't have to do that, but
the description factor is what gets me. That's I don't know, man. There's too many jokes you can make off that.
Oh, yeah. Go
6
to
foot
any,
black clothes. Gotcha.
Any biscuit factory, the Sundays at the Bound, not Bound, or Stockies anymore.
I'm not even Stockies anymore. Hey.
Yeah, anything with really electronic music, all your males are gonna be at 6 foot black clothing. That's every male.
Yeah, 100%. I'm like 5 foot short.
But yeah, no, like, I mean, we kind of like jumped forward a bit. But, you know, starting out on like just house parties, like how did DJs start out now? Like, just videoing themselves, chucking it online, and
I don't know. Like, okay, well, there's this.
Because the way we did it was you did your house parties, and then once everyone turned 18, you'd already amassed a bit of a following.
Yeah.
And that's how you got into the clubs.
Yeah, it's similar to that now. Obviously, with COVID, it's kind of a bit different because obviously no clubs be out.
Yeah.
But I feel there's. I don't know whether it's we were kind of in a space where the idea of, I guess, you know, point proven, you know, Martin Garrix, when he dropped Animals and everyone figuring out he was only, what, 17 18, something like that. Yeah. Super young.
Yeah.
I guess it kind of broke, like, he, in a way.
Well, I guess
there could be so earlier people, I don't know, but, like, I felt that when Martin Garrix was, like, super young, he just worked on music and, like, just smash out of the park. And obviously, you know, the stars were aligned, and that kind of broke down to me, like, fuck, he's super young.
Yeah.
I'm only 15, like...
Yeah, that's me in a few years kind of thing.
Well, it was a case where, not necessarily, oh man, that can easily be me when I'm 17, because again, like, you know, that just, it was just for him, it just so happened, but I just had that idea of, well, if some kid from, you know, the other side of the world who is super young can at least get to the conversation of, hey man, this guy played at Ultra, hey man, this guy played the biggest shows in the world.
Playing in front of 30,000 people, like, you know.
Then the sky's the limit for anything. I feel with nowadays though, like, there's just so much information out there, resources, you know, how to make things. You know, we kind of, I guess, in a way, you know, dubstep and trap was sort of this very particular niche, you know, new flavor. Where now you can fucking go on fucking YouTube and it'll be like how to trap music, and there'll be fucking shit everywhere.
Thousands and thousands of videos.
Just fucking
how to make a, you know, wobble bass.
Yeah, how to make it on phone. And what I feel is like that has become the new norm.
Yeah.
And now it's sort of a case of, I don't know whether it's obviously with the internet, information, data, social media, branding has become a big factor. When I first started DJing and started doing stuff, branding came second.
Yeah.
Just what I like to play and practicing was like first.
Yeah.
I can see people nowadays where like their music sucks, but I remember what they look like, so I'm just gonna remember their music.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing I wanted to ask you is DJing fallen by the wayside? Because I remember as I was getting out of DJing, I won't name who the artists were. This guy wants to get in front of us. But it was big name artists, booked headline spot at the Met. And you could tell right away that he was not a DJ.
Yeah.
He made amazing songs. Like I'm talking top tier songs that have been used in movies and games and all sorts of stuff. But when it came to a live show, God, he was a disappointment. And I'm feeling like it's like branding's massive. If you can have your own songs being played on, you know, BBC Radio 1, or you can, you know, these huge God tier platforms, then DJing kind of falls behind. And like a lot of those guest mixes, they're already pre-recorded. No one does a live mix anymore. And then the only time you find that out is when you're like really, you know, happy with an artist, you want to support them, and you go see them live and you go, hang on a minute, that's nothing like the mix I heard. You know, this I mean, I don't know if it's the DJ in me, but I'm looking at it going, well, that transition was shit. You've just gone from that key to this key, and you're just looking at it like, okay, so you're really good at making music, but then also like, working a crowd.
Yeah,
and, you know,
I feel like, I don't know, it's a weird conversation because I feel there's always like a split in the way people have gone about how DJing, the word disc jockey, you know, even like, I guess there's like a group of people that won't accept that times have changed, and then there's others that just say, hey, look, although you may say you're a DJ, can you do the fundamentals?
Yeah.
And then also there's some people that will say, hey mate, you can do the fundamentals, but can you do this?
Yeah.
There's like levels to this shit.
Yeah.
I feel just with the individual and what kind of music they play, adapt to the style, but still don't be afraid to go outside of that and try new things. I guess with me, like, I have mad influences from like hip hop, obviously, to EDM music, to rock music, to like just everything. But like certain ways of mixing music, house. There's so many ways you can go about it. Some say that it's the easiest form of music to mix because it's just that simple, you know, 4 to the floor, you know.
Kick.
And so, but then also some people say that like trap music is easy as fuck because it's 150, 75, you know, that kind of stuff. But then there's other people that can just mix in just different levels of ways. And I personally like that. That's just me. Like, I liked listening to people like, well, I grew up listening to people like DJ Blakey and, you know, who else? DJ Trays, DMC, like scratch turntable stuff where they'll be doing all these crazy tricks and shit. Like, acapella loops into instrumentals and then remixing and then scratching solos, you know, keeping like the physical, like the almost like playing an instrument. You got to have rhythm in your hands. You got to have rhythm in your beats. You got to listen to it in different ways. And I personally like that approach to music because it keeps it exciting. Yeah. Because,
but also having fun.
Yeah.
Like, how many sets have you played where you're just like, oh, can this be over?
Yeah.
And then, but then like I know when I was at the end of mine, I would have more fun if someone else came up with me and we were just, you know, like when you come up with something, like, dude, let's just like fuck around, have some fun, throw some songs together and see what happens. And it was always the best sets because we didn't really care. Yeah. It was more so just having fun, and then everyone can vibe off that and pick up on it.
And I think that's sort of like where in the grand, guess, like argument of what is a DJ, what is classified as like, you know, technical, can you scratch, oh, he doesn't use turntables, oh, this person uses sync. Oh, this guy's using just straight up like the same BPM the whole time. I feel, although yes, it is I guess not say subjective, but like it is a good conversation to say, hey, if this person's willing to put all the time and effort into making really great music, it would be nice. And again, it's not one of those things where they need to do it, but I feel if you want to, you know, show your music and then you want to go play it live, at least learn or get the idea of how to perform things live.
Yeah. Well, it's like, you know, when we would play, well, I think one of the things why we had a lot of success was that we weren't afraid to go from that genre to this genre, to that, from that BPM to this BPM. There was no set kind of idea, I've got to stay dubstep because I'm playing in the attic. It was like, no, Mr. Brightside is a great song regardless of what room you're in. You've just got to learn how to
put it in a
bring the best like parts of that song, which has got nothing to do with electronic music or dubstep or trap or anything, but then also show people that, hey, look, music is music, and a lot of it does go together. Like, and you know, or you know, like remember when we did that pony thing with the look at that, it's a pony, and then straight into
shit, that's right.
Shit like that. Just because I think it gets very repetitive. You know, anyone can go, you know, build up, drop, bridge, everywhere. Build up, drop, bridge, build up, drop, bridge. Like, everyone can do that.
I think it's like, if you can get, like, I personally, I'm not like a perfectionist kind of person, but I really dig when people take the time to, like,
let their creativity go.
Well, like, that, and just trying out different stuff. Not, hey, I'm gonna jump on the UK bass scene because everyone's on it. Yeah, people are gonna be like, but I like it. But then also I can see when they're playing up on stage, some of them will just be bored shitless. Or it seems like, or just like, I mean, like, everyone's different on stage, man. Like, I'm not trying to judge, but it's one of those
that's a
things where,
whole
like,
another skill in itself.
you know, performing to people. I see people that will love what they're playing, and they're into it, and they love it. But then I can see people that it's like, I feel like you're doing this because it's everyone else is doing it now.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you can't evolve with the times and, you know, bring in new, fresh things, but this case, well, I think it's just, I've always been one to try experiment in different areas, whether it's music production or listening to shit that just like overall just inspires me to, you know, play.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think it's just,
I think it's also
changing heaps.
Yeah, like, I guess, well, how about we start with, you know, well, how did we get there? How did you start? Because I know the way you started was very different to how I started.
So how I started was a really odd thing. So I was a dancer before anything. I was a dance kid. I did it like hip hop and all that kind of stuff with my friends and shit. And I did a competition called Bring It On, which was like all the Brisbane schools entering this competition. It's like a hip hop event. And I just really got intrigued with all the routines that we had where, like, I remember where we had, I think it was like Dora the Explorer, Baltimore remix. So we're talking like real old school type shit. But like, I just liked how it's like, wow, this guy managed to get like a beat and like lay it on top of an old like TV show theme song. And like, just how does that work? And you know, what else? I think it was the guy that used to do our mixes in school. I asked him, I'm like, oh, like, what was that off? And he goes, oh, like, I mixed that in with this beat using like Reason and like these like music production tools. And I was like, oh, and at the time it was a bit too daunting to make music. So he was like, oh, gee, just get a virtual DJ. Like, it's free. Like, you just jam out to it. You can like pitch the songs and like add little stuff. And I'm like 14 at the time, man, or 13. So like, after our like big ass event, I went home that night. The night after we finished that big event, I went home. I think at the time I was taking photos and stuff for the crew. And I just stumbled across Virtual DJ just on the Google page. Downloaded it, and then that's sort of how I got into like making little mixes and shit. Yeah. That's literally how it started. It was just straight off my mate telling me that it was free. First recommending me Reason, and then saying that I don't want to make music. So he was like, okay, we'll use Virtual DJ to mix all of it. Yeah. I can't remember what was his full name, but I knew his name was Simon. He was a dance instructor for our crew. But yeah, that's how I got into it. I started learning, like...
At what point did you progress to going, oh, hang on a minute, I could do a house party and make money out of this?
Oh, dude. Okay, so that was probably like 6 months after that.
Yeah.
Probably like 6 months. So like, I just, on the computer, the family one, I just started learning how to like, shortcuts, how to play, press play. What's sync? I did not know what BPMs meant. I just noticed that every time I moved this little knob, the number changes and it goes faster. And then when you go the other way, the number's slower. And then I realized, I had a bunch of songs that I ripped off YouTube. Of course, man. I ripped them off YouTube. I think it was like, Fireflies. Our City. This is the time frame. Like 303 was popping.
Oh man.
Yeah.
There's so many good songs.
Yeah.
Lonely Island.
Yeah. Found out what jizzing was. Education. But so like learn about BPMs through that, learnt about like, you know, syncing, and then I started finding out what acapellas were.
Yeah.
I did not know what. Every time I put in a song that I wanted to put over, I was like, how do you mix the two together? It's like, oh, you got to get the vocals out to get the beat, and then you get the beat and just the vocal, like, you know.
Yeah.
Learning that, yeah, it's like a solid 6 months of me just doing that every day because I got bored after. Should have really done homework and stuff. Like, I was in grade 8, I was failing too. Who fails grade 8? Seriously. Like, I was failing. It was not fun. I just did not like it. I mean, I was good at English, but
But you speak English.
Yeah, I speak English. But yeah, just did virtual DJ stuff, and then I remember it was for my birthday. I was 14. I'm gonna say 14. 2010, 11, 12, 13. 13, my parents got me the Newmark Mix Track Pro.
Oh, I remember those things.
I thought it was so cool. I was like, yo, I got myself something that controls the music. I am the shit. And then, like, at the time too, my friends that were dancers and stuff, they were like, oh, you can start making our mixes and stuff too. So like, it was sort of those things where I just started learning. Like, I used to look up like Poriotics DJ, Poriotics, which is a dance crew. I used to like look up their music, you know, sets and their mix sets and try and mix them in with each other.
Yeah.
You know, just that kind of stuff. But I guess after having a pair of decks, my mate that used to work at a Foot Locker asked me, he's like, oh bro, I've been told by, like, I think I was at the time I was telling my mates that I got decks and shit, and then I wanted to start doing it.
Yeah.
And at the time, a few of the older boys, so I was in like grade 9, grade 10 maybe?
Yeah.
At the time, the older boys that were in grade 11 and 12, one of them, it was Arthur, he had a bunch of DJ lights.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude, he had a bunch of DJ lights, and it was just like this small little like globe light thingy, and like a smoke machine and stuff. And I just straight up asked him, I'm like, hey man, I got a gig coming up, can I borrow your stuff? And he's just like, he was cool about it too.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't ask for money, which I thought was a very crazy thing.
Yeah.
But I assumed he was just cool with it. So yeah, he gave me that stuff. I did this house party for a friend. It was so fucking whack though, because the speaker system was literally, you're gonna laugh. So the speaker system was a dodged up, do you remember those old Sony big boom boxes?
Oh, I think I've seen a photo of, was it, I think it was like a strobe or something on the ground?
Yeah, bro. Probably.
Oh,
It was just like every professional mobile DJ's nightmare. Like, it was a Sony boombox music set, like that massive boombox, right? Yeah. Then it was, you know, like them fucking like home entertainment speakers, those real thin and tall guys, those stand, you know, those? Yeah. About 6 of those just lined up. And then my mate sub kicker out of his car. Like, I don't know how they managed to set it up, but they managed to click it all together.
And it worked.
And it came out of the fucking Sony speaker and was like, you plugged that into your computer then? I was like, I mean, the sound at the time, what I thought was, it was just really loud. There was no sub. The sub was just a...
What? You're telling me that the kicker sub wasn't that good?
Yeah, definitely not. But I got paid $100, and I remember I stayed there that night. It was a pretty funny party, but it was one of those ones where, like, at the time, I wasn't thinking of, like, man, I'm gonna be the next fucking DJ Big Balls. Nah, at the time, I just really liked being able to just play music in front of my mates and my friends and shit. And then eventually it started going, he pays $100, oh, let's get him to do this one. And then that's when I met, like, my mate Jake Elric, who was a good friend of mine from St. Francis, the old school I used to go to. I did house parties with him before I did it with Bray. And the funny thing is that, so Jake was a good friend of mine who, he knew how to DJ, but he was more interested in the lights and the speakers and whatnot.
Really?
So
that's rare.
He was like to me, hey man, I need a DJ, come through. If you got a pair of decks, we'll DJ this party. Yeah. And it was me and him that did like the first proper like biggish ones for like Crestmead and Marsden. We did a few together, and then for some reason all my friends started hanging with this Brave character that did all in one and said like, Liam, where were you? You were supposed to be in Beenleigh to do this party. And I'm like, bruh, my parents didn't allow me to go out to parties willy-nilly like that. Like, they just wouldn't. But after I started meeting up with Bray, you know, getting told to him from my friends that like I was this really good DJ. He did all the house parties and whatnot. What is going on here?
Traffic jam.
Oh my god.
Oh god, this is scary.
Yeah.
Hit my car.
Yeah, like I just started doing house parties with kids. And it was only for like $100 for the first like couple. But they were the ones that were like grade 10, grade 11, adolescent, you know, fucking
$100 to you when you're that age, you think you are rich.
And I was working at McDonald's doing 2 shifts for 3 hours each. Like,
that's right, I forgot we both worked at Macca's.
Yeah, dude. And it's just funny how, like, I guess the biggest thing that I liked about doing this whole thing was the money wasn't really the reason why I do it. Yeah, that's a very cliche thing to say, but in the grand sense, man, I really didn't. It was one of those things where if I got paid good for it, that was just more fucking cherries on top, man.
Yeah.
I think when people are like, like, I got paid for a certain amount, and I got asked like from one of my friends, like, how much did you get paid for that one? And they said, I got this amount. Yeah. And he was like, fuck, I only get like 10% of that. And I'm like, I don't feel bad, but at the same time, it's like, I didn't ask. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't ask for it, but it's just like, that's how much they want to pay for it.
But there does come a point where you do have to value yourself, though.
100%.
And your time. Like,
I learned that a few years back.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess mine was, very different. So, I don't have a dancing bone in my body. So I was never interested in dancing, but I was always interested in parties. And, mine was just school discos. We were fortunate enough that at our school, we had a teacher who, shout out Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers?
He was a DJ at the Beat while he was also working as a teacher at our school.
That's actually pretty cool.
And he would bring in his turntables. He had a Technic 1200s. And he'd bring in his turntables and he'd just jam. He was the coolest teacher ever. Yeah. And he'd just jam out in class. He'd be like, yeah, you guys know what you're doing. And just be DJing in class.
That's so sick.
Rather than doing work, everyone was just like, that's really cool.
Yeah, like,
and then,
these guys mixing.
Yeah, when it came around to discos, I think the school was paying something ridiculous for someone else to come in and do the disco. So he just said to them, hey, like, all you got to do is buy a deck. You've already got your speakers. And then I'll do it. And they're like, sweet. So they bought a Tractor S2.
Oh, those are good.
Yeah, and so we learnt a bit on the Technics, but I think the bulk of my knowledge came from Tractor. And that's where my start got happened. And then catching up with Tyler, Mr. Coville.
Mr. Coville.
You know, and because he was already quite into the house party scene and just tagging along. Like, all I wanted to do was go to parties, but I was quite rural, especially for you. So, like, there was hardly any people out there. So I was always coming in to do parties. And then, just by hanging out, like, that's where I met you, was tagging along with Tyler at
I'm still
one of those
trying to, like,
giant freaking parties.
I'm still trying to figure out, like, it's a weird concept knowing that there's just DJ friends that literally, if it wasn't for this one person, a lot of things wouldn't have happened. And it's just right under the radar. Yeah,
like, I think it was one of those. It was that one where there were like 20-something cop cars or something turned up. And, oh, that's right. And the lighting rig fell.
Yeah.
That's when I met you. But yeah, so DJing through school and then...
I almost died. Shit sucked.
Yeah. But yeah, so then I saved up. Oh, it took me like 3 months or so working at Macca's. Saved up and bought myself my own tractor, S2.
Money
And then, oh dude, no, it was amazing. I was like, holy crap, I've got like $700. And then it all just went in one purchase. But yeah, and then it was just, the first house parties I did for free. I didn't even charge. I was like, yeah, no, I'll DJ anyone's party.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, only problem is I've only got a deck though. So you have to supply the speakers.
Yeah, that's what I used to do. It's like, hey man, I got a DJ deck, but I got nothing else.
Yeah, and then just started doing that, and hooked up with Menelaus, good old Metro
Mouse. Oh,
God, we were running in competition with each other.
It's so weird knowing that, but even that sense. So like, there's me, All in One, Metro Mouse. I'm pretty sure Tao.
Was he Metro Mouse?
He's either Metro Mouse.
No, he was Animal House reference. Yeah.
Curtis as well.
Yeah, he was Metro, I think, or was he also Animal?
Animal, but then you have a look at some of the people that are involved in that.
J-Mag, he was Metro.
J-Mag. Even Oliver Marshall, the filmer.
Yeah.
Bro, he's big now. I was
Joe.
big, yeah.
Buddy Joe, I want him on the show next. So,
I miss Joe.
Dude, Mr. Crackdick. God.
I remember that name. Single Fooni would relate so much. Man's changed a lot.
Oh man. But yeah, it was amazing. And then, but yeah, if you look at the industry now, it's like all those house parties. That's what I mean when I'm seeing all these young guys come out. I was like, where have you come from? Because we had 2 or 3 years of, trying to make away with our speakers without getting stolen, and
it's one of those things, I guess. I can't say that our journey was the worst, but definitely wasn't the best. There's a lot of people that have come up that didn't necessarily have to go through what we did, but I think that's what makes it, I guess.
But it also made us the ability that we had when we finally made it into the clubs, of because we were used to what at that time 4-hour, 5-hour sets at a house party, and then knowing all right, well, I don't want to play my bangers now. How many young people do you see coming up and they go banger, 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 and then you go, dude, it's you're the second set in the night.
I've literally seen someone. I'm not gonna say the person's name because again, I love this person, but it's been one of those things where I've seen someone rinse themselves to the point where they're like, I actually don't want to play anymore, and it's you still got half hour left.
Or how many times have you come into a room?
I've done that too.
And at that that time where we were talking to Morgan, he's just like, yeah, whatever. We're just like, oh, sweet. We just joke. But how many times have you walked into a room and it's dead? There's no one there. How many people do you think would have the ability to go from a 0 person? It's you and the bartender. How many But we had to do that every house party.
Too many to count. I remember there was just times where you just have conversations with the lady at the bar. Yeah. Because there's really nothing else.
There's no one else there. But that's the thing, and then how do you get that first person and we have them stay? How do you get them then text their friends and go, hey, dude, this room is empty, but it's awesome, and then get them to come. And then
it's such a hard thing. I mean,
but we had to do that as house parties because when you rock up, no one wants to dance as soon as you turn the speakers on. So you got to then work with them, and I feel I always felt that the people that had less of a grind never got that.
Yeah, no, 100%.
They know, by the time I played my first club gig, I'd been DJing for almost 3 years, 4 years at that time.
I think it's there's DJs that I can see that it hasn't been, not saying because the interest hasn't been too long, it's a bad thing, but you can obviously tell some people have just picked it up recently.
Yeah.
And they have been able to, even if it's, let's say, someone that's just been a part of the events, never played, and just somehow managed to pick it up and just go to those people directly.
Yeah.
That's completely fine in a way, like, you know, in all sense of the matter.
Yeah, like, kudos for you for getting your foot in the door.
I don't mind. I think it's just, I like to have that conversation with people when they say, you know, how long are your sets and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like, oh, you can't even do this long of a set, but I think it's just like, I don't know. I think it's just me as a person. It's one of those things where it's like, as you know, you would obviously know, like, you will have a certain amount of appreciation for playing shows and playing stuff. Yeah. When you basically have no choice but to do that because there's no one there.
But also, like, the ability to, you know...
turn it around.
Yeah, read, like, all right, you know, I'm meant to be playing, you know, X, Y, Z.
But I'm going to play this instead.
We've got no one. It's not working tonight. Yeah. I think the masters of that was Tao. Yeah, in the R&B room down at Stockies, there were times when it was not R&B, but he had that crowd just... It was amazing.
It's such an interesting...
Same with J-Mac. He's another just wizard of crowd control. Just going, you know, the usual music policy of this room is this, but if we're going to retain that crowd and keep people here, we need to kind of deviate a little bit.
That's it.
You know? But being able to make that decision and actually have it pan out. Like, that you can't learn that. You can't watch that in a YouTube video. Like, you know, you need to go to a house party and have someone go, this music's shit, can you play something better?
Yeah.
And
that's also the one thing that sorry to cut you off, but like...
Yeah, no.
The worst, I'll say the worst, but the worst/best thing a DJ can ever get is honest criticism to their fucking face like that, because...
If you play something good?
Yeah, like, if you can... okay, like, I hate to get on this weird touchy subject because it's one of those things where, you know, some people can take it so many ways.
I'm sure some people are already pissed off at our conversation in the DJ room.
But like, I don't know, when people are like, oh my God, I'm so sick of people judging me on social media. Yeah. How would you like it? Like, you know, go to a pub gig and wait until some drunk bitches come up to you and just roast the fuck out of you.
Or how about this? Everyone wants to make it to the club. How about you start where I started, the Bow Desert Hotel, and you have 60-year-old retiree saying, "Play some Jimmy Barnes," and you go, "I'm an electro DJ."
It's quite loud, isn't it?
Mate, I'm just trying to have a beer, and you're just like, oh, okay. Like, and being able to cop it, but then also, you know, turn that into a positive and go, all right, let's, you know, I'm here to do a job.
Let's make this person it. I don't know. People's, like, a lot of people will think of DJing like playing particular shows and that's it. And then other DJs like the pure satisfaction of getting people on the dance floor, just letting them forget their problems for a couple of minutes, you know?
Yeah.
I think, the one thing that will always be interesting for me is just, when DJs get put into sticky situations and see how they get out of it. I like that stuff, you know? Because I guess with the whole house party scene and, like, you know, doing it for a while...
That's your situation,
You kind of have to practice yourself into them. So, like, you know, what happens if power runs out?
Yeah.
What happens if something breaks?
Turns off.
What happens if a deck turns off?
What happens times I had CDJs turn off on me. Yeah. And I can't remember who it was, which is probably a good thing because I don't want to blast them. But it happened multiple times with multiple different people, especially at Boundary, as well as Stockies and Birdies a couple of times, where, you know, these decks are getting used every night in some of the worst conditions ever. You're getting alcohol on them, so they're going to break. And the fact that a DJ will come up and go, oh, they're not linked? No. Oh, I can't play then. I've only got one USB. Or, you know, oh, wait, this has got was it 6mm aux amplifier headphone? Oh, I've only got the 3.5. I can't play. Or, like...
I think there's a lot of ones that would... get irritated quickly
Yeah.
for, you know, just normal DJ problems.
Yeah.
I think it's just been there, done that, too old to fucking complain about it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. You know, I think the one thing for me is if you can do more with less, that's good. If you
Well,
can
that's
do
the thing, like, you know, like I think my next purchase after the tractor, I had CDJ 350s. And all little tiny things. And it had a screen, which was a step up from the tractor. But all the screen said was, I think it was like the first 10 characters of the song. So generally it was like the artist's name and maybe 4 characters of what the song title was. And then underneath that, it had BPM, but it wasn't in decimal.
Oh.
So like you'd just be like, hang on a minute, it sounds like it's out of time. And then like, you know,
you have to try and figure it out.
If you learn on shit, then when you get good stuff, like it's a piece of piss. You don't.
Yeah, that's it. I think that's sort of it. You know, the Mix Track Pro there was a button that had scratch on it. You know it's a real DJ when you've got a scratch button.
Oh man.
But I guess learn how to mix off the bare fuck all minimal, like just nothing.
Literally get iDJ on your phone, and if you can figure out the fundamentals on that, then any deck will be better, and you can do more shit with it.
I know how to like you've seen it before. Like, I know how to confidently mix just off a laptop.
Yeah.
Just because of the shortcuts and just how to do it. It's not hard.
Yeah.
But it's like train yourself to be in uncomfortable positions for the pure fact of if it ever comes to that, you're gonna have to deal with it. The typical shit. If let's say a song cuts out, or if you can't find a song before the shit goes out, think of shit on the spot to make it not so obvious. So obviously I would hit like reverb, chuck that bitch all the way up, so by the time the song finishes, I still get sound.
Yeah.
Or this one's a personal favorite, but if I really need to take a piss,
Pursuit of Happiness.
Yeah.
If any DJ plays Pursuit of Happiness, he's going to the toilet.
He's taking a piss.
It's a 7-minute song. You can just, all right, boom.
Mine was like Bohemian Rhapsody, bro. Just pop that on. But like the one that I used to always use was like, I had it, now it's gone. It was a specific song. Oh wait, no. As soon as it hits something, you just. Hey, it's someone's birthday!
Everyone sing happy birthday.
Everyone sing happy birthday! And while they're singing, that's your cue to take a piss. Or go to the barbecue and get whatever food is left.
Or fix your gear. Or reset everything. Or
like
how many times have you how many times have you had USB can't read? Yep. Or error X. You know.
I've had nightmare situations, me and Bray both, where like it would either be a power board is missing, or an extension cord is not there, or something's not working. We're like 95% of your entire get works, but that 5% is what you really wanted.
Yeah.
Like, I've got this mad fucking area, but I've got no smoke machine, so these lights look like shit.
Yeah.
And then you try and swap it over, and it's like, well, I've got no sub now.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, well, I literally need all these power boards, and these cunts don't have anything. Like, what am I supposed to do?
Or like, I know I've run into this problem once, but like, learning how much you can put on one circuit.
Yeah.
Like, how many times did you just gone, oh yeah, no, it's just one extension lead, that's fine.
That'd be sweet.
We just lost power, guys. 1 sec.
1 second, guys. I think the one that really I thought was quite hilarious was generators.
Have you played off generator? Oh, actually, I played Toowoomba off a generator.
Bro, so we did a few like after formal parties.
Yeah.
But those times where like from the month of September to November,
You're flat out.
you're just getting, or me, I was getting mad money.
Yeah.
But I think the funny thing is my sleeping patterns was literally... Because I was working at Macca's too.
That's probably one thing that people look at DJing and music and just go, oh, that's amazing. It comes with some serious downsides.
A poor diet.
Oh, yeah, dude. I'm still working it off as we're going. Like, I've been out of the scene really for 2 years.
Bro,
My sleep, I can't get to sleep now. I sit there lying in bed for an hour,
chilling.
hour and a half, just like, when am I going to go to bed? Like,
oh, bro.
and also, like, how about missing out on all your friends' events? Sorry, got a gig on. Whenever your friend's having an event, that's generally prime time DJ time. Like, you know.
I think the one thing that, I guess, with COVID hitting, it was one of those breaks that I really needed.
Yeah.
Like, I had no expectations from anyone. Hey, man, you should come out to my club. It's like, I can't, bro. Hey, man, you should come see me play. Oh, I can't, man.
Yeah.
Hey, man, you should come see... Like, it's not a case of you don't want to see anyone, but... Like, I guess when you go out every weekend, you're doing shit constantly. If it's laid out even playing field for everyone to just say, hey man, stay at home.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, cool. But heading into the new year, a lot of things have changed. A lot of people have changed. That's good and bad.
I'm expecting an explosion.
Yeah, there's gonna be
new music.
There's just gonna be a fucking shit bomb of crazy content from everyone.
Everyone's gonna wait for their first show, and that's gonna be the release date. Is boom, whole new set, everything's new music. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, dude, it's already happening, man. Like even yesterday was just like, man, these people have obviously, because I don't know any of these tunes. It's like, wow.
And that's also probably one of the biggest parts of DJing is finding songs.
Facts.
Because I always looked at it like how would you say? Kind of like playing like poker or cards. If you have the same cards as everyone else, you're just like everyone else and no one wins. Yeah. If you can find your little unique little things, you can find little, you know, combinations that work extremely well. Yeah. Then, you know, you just rely on those. And it's...
I think that's what sort of kept me in the loop low key. I think that's sort of why with the way that I play, that's what sort of kept me relevant for so long. As I've told you before, like I haven't played as many gigs as I have, but I've somehow managed to be relevant in certain cases. Yeah. Like I haven't played Met since July last year. Yeah, I can go up to Lowdown and Jackknife and all them boys and Young Jalapeno and then be like, oh bro, we should work together. It's like, fuck you want to hang out with me for? But they just, I guess it's from like, you know, they fuck with my sound, they fuck with me. It's just people in general. And I think it's just my nipple's showing. Hey, I was wondering.
Oh, that's in the X-rated version.
$5 for a month's worth of Fooni's nipple. No, like I think it's being. I like to take creativity in like certain shit. So like, I'm a huge wrestling fan, as you know. So I like to always put little where I can, just sort of little things that.
And his name is John Cena.
Yeah, just like it doesn't, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to have a certain reason, but I like to have little inside jokes with myself, with my art. You know, whether it's, you know, the tracks that I've made or the edits that I've done, you know. I did one with fucking Prison Riot by Floshadamus and I just sprinkle in a little bit of Bunnings Warehouse. You know, who does that?
I love your one with, what's it, Chopper?
Oh yeah, the dubstep one.
Yeah.
And like these are just funny little, and like that's my mates, like my friends just out here doing stuff and just making me want to just chuck little bits in. Yeah. I've put my friends' name, like their vocals into a song from like videos of them. Like I have a video of my friend beating up a bush and I chuck his vocals inside of that fight with the bush in a track. Yeah. I don't know. I think, as you said, not being the same as everyone else. I could be like, hey guys, I just remixed the new...
the latest top 40 number one song.
Number one song, and it's like a... I don't know. Like,
yeah.
I just... I haven't released them, but it's one of those things of just being... People say, what does Fooni play in?
Everything.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, you hungry?
Yes.
Cool. Let's get some ramen.
Ramens.
Oh,
so full.
Dude, it's so good, eh? I'm surprised. I thought you would have finished it.
Yeah, look, I'm no longer the big eater I used to be.
You need to power those guns, buddy.
I'm trying right now. I'm trying. I've fluctuated in weight, but I just noticed my appetite's so not what it was.
Oh, shit. All right.
How I know that? I saw a Snapchat memory from when I was 17. Even just thinking about it now sounds gross as. I ate a double quarter pounder with bacon, with a 6-pack of nuggets and a large milk tea. That in itself is just a lot.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, can I get a regular double cheeseburger? And I'll probably not finish the chips.
Oh, shit. So I wonder how many people are going to make it onto the pass column finishing that ramen bowl. There's going to be a lot of wasteds.
I reckon. I mean, look.
That'd be cool. It means we get to play that video more.
Just GTA references left, right, and center.
Just, we're recorded, by the way. If we both eat it and finish it, which I think next week, my mate BJ, he'll definitely finish it, is, just that classic sample of all the kids in crowd going, yay!
Like the typical iMovie clap applause. Oh, man.
So you're looking at a car or buying a car in the near future, dependent on passing your test.
I am a 23-year-old who still hasn't got his P's license.
Yeah, and for people around the world, it's like learner license. I guess you'd say it's like you go on probation for a little bit, but you're allowed to drive by yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was a really lazy individual, and also I was a very scared individual.
Really?
Yeah, dude. I guess, in a nutshell, some people get scared in just certain predicaments.
Yeah.
I got told this. It's like, one of my close friends, Dan, he told me, it's like, you have certain things that you're just not comfortable with. He's like, you're comfortable in front of a stage, in front of all these people.
Yeah.
But, you put yourself in like a room with like 2 people, sometimes like people would freak out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm one of those people where like I can be able to talk to a lot of people at once.
Yeah.
But sometimes if it's one-to-one conversation in like a small room, for some reason I just get really anxious.
And driving's one of them?
And I guess in regards to driving, it's a bit of, one, I'm in a confined space.
Oh, this is probably hell for you then.
It's not too bad. I mean, I think it's more of when it's going super, super duper duper fast. Not a case where I get anxious, it's more of like...
something could go wrong.
That, and I think it's just me as an individual, when you watch too many videos of how it's not meant to be?
Yeah.
And then you just apply it to yourself and you're like, yeah, that's me. I think that's been one of my biggest things was, like, I could drive, but then there's times where, like, I was scared to do just certain things just for the pure fact that it's like, well, what if I crash? And it's like, well, if you don't move now, you definitely are. And it's like, and then you
stall
that stuff. But my partner, she's been really good with teaching me just like, hey, man, like, just chill, relax. Yeah. It's one of those, I guess, the big cysts on your back that you just hope no one just sees. But everyone's looking at it, be like, you have to pop it. You just have to get rid of it.
Yeah.
I just looking for a car, not sure. And I know a lot of people out there be like, you get this car, but get this one because it's good on fuel. This one's cheaper. I have fucking no idea. You talk to me, you talk to me about like non-car things, it's great. Cars are a little bit weird for me, I guess, because just never was that kind of person.
Mm.
Yeah, I have a lot of mates at my work that be like, man, I got this car, I just did this to it, I added this to the suspension. I'm just like, no idea what you're talking about, bro. But
that would have been me as well with my cars.
But like, that's what I mean. Like, everyone has their own little niche things. Like,
Yeah,
sometimes
exactly.
people talk about like, yeah, my stuff, like music, or they'll just be like, I have no idea what you're talking about, but sick.
Yeah. Yeah. No, so you nervous?
Little,
Test?
but more confident than I was. I failed my first test, and now for the next one, I've just been real, like, I guess, overgoing what I did wrong and trying to see where I could do right, and the shit that I did do right, make sure that I'm still doing it right.
Yeah.
I feel, although the reason for me failing was very minimal, it was enough for them to fail me. So I was like, all right, well, we'll have a look at that. But
Yeah.
not necessarily more nervous. I think it's one of those, I know what I'm going into now. So at least I have a bit of a calm frame of mind.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a lot of it's just as well, like, confidence on the road.
Yeah.
Like, anyone can pick up if you're nervous on the road. And of all places to be nervous, on the road behind a 1-ton wrecking ball,
Yeah.
probably isn't the best place to be nervous. God, those Supers look so good. You're probably just like, oh, it's pretty yellow.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I was like, evening. Cool, Supra.
But no, dude, I'm excited. I'm excited for you to get your license
dude,
and
for
drive
me,
around.
it's just
You never
more-
know. Like Morgan, my brother, where he never was into cars.
Really?
Then he got his first car,
Yeah.
and that's when he was like, oh, you know, this is actually pretty cool. And, you know, from then he, you know, went on to own all the shit. I don't know, I'm not saying it's going to happen with you, but, you know.
You never know. Seriously.
Yeah, people are different. Like, you might find someone that you really like. And that's the thing, though, is a lot of people, especially when they start getting into a scene, like, you've probably definitely noticed it with DJ, especially with doors. It'll be, oh, well, I started on FL, I have to stay on FL, or I started on, you know, what's the other one? Massive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been jumping on Ableton too.
Yeah, like, you know, and same thing with cars, is people can get this, like, you know, preconceived ideas of, oh, well, this one's shit because of this, but they've never actually owned the car or tried it out.
Yeah.
You know? Like, the amount of shit I got when I was using FL Studio to make music,
Yeah.
and I'm like, well, you know, like, it's not too bad, and I can do everything I want to do in it, and it works for me. Like,
Yeah, that's it.
you know.
No, it's, I mean, for me, I think it's just being comfortable with a car that can work for me. I think my biggest thing is, I guess having the preconceived ideas of it's gonna fucking kill me eventually.
Yeah.
Something like, I don't know, something's gonna go wrong.
That's the thing, is the best first car is a car that works. So, you know, which nowadays cars are extremely reliable.
Yeah.
You just gotta buy the right one, and I'll help you out with it. It's all good.
Maybe.
I'll make sure you get a good one.
Man, thank you.
Nothing too fast, nothing crazy, but something that'll get you from A to B and not break.
Yeah. I think it's just the 3 reasons why I need to get a car. Because 1, I live out of home, and groceries are really good when you can get it whenever you want. 2, obviously work. The amount of times where my mates, like my workmates, know how far I am from work, and they'll be like, hey man, do you need a lift or something like that? Because they know I wouldn't walk it.
Yeah.
That's a little too far. But, I mean, I could bike it there, but it's one of those things that means I'm lazy.
And then you got like, oh, well, then where do you keep your bike? And then, you know,
It's one of those
good
things.
old Brisbane, they'll be stolen.
Yeah. And then 3rd is, man, I just want to head out to, like, collaborate with people. And, you know, the amount of times where it's like, oh, come meet me here, but I'm in this side of town. I'm like, oh, bro, that's like $60 Uber. Or just drive there.
Yeah. Well, the first thing you'll realise is how
Fuel ain't
much,
cheap.
and registration, insurance. Like, this car costs me, I think it's about $2,500 a year to insure.
Damn.
Now, obviously, you know, there's a reason for it. It's not like, you know, like this Mazda in front of us. probably not going to cost that much.
Very cool.
Yeah, like, you know, but it's like everything, you know, DJing included.
Yeah.
You could start off and buy brand new 2000 Nexus CDJs with a DJM 900 Nexus, or you could buy a new Mark Extract Pro. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong, man.
Yeah, it's like everything.
It's good though. I think for me, just having the idea of owning a car, it's a bit late bloomerish of me, but it's one of those. I never had a interest. That sounds whack as, but
it's not even interest though. Like there wasn't really a need for it anyway. Like, you had such a big support group of friends that like.
And I relied on public transportation a little too much. I think it was for more of my lifestyle and what I wanted to do. It was more, man, I could just catch the bus, just take drinks on it, and drink before I have to go out somewhere. That was probably the why I was like, man, that's not really that good.
Yeah.
Well, the amount of times where it's like, I could just catch the bus home and just walk it for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But then also, it's that case if I miss that bus, well, I'm standing in the fucking middle of the road for another 25 minutes.
Yeah, the bus system here, and I mean, I haven't caught many buses, but I know that they aren't as good as like when I went to Japan. It's like every
I could definitely rely on that one. Like, it's, I mean, the bus systems here is not too bad. Like, I think there's times where you get some real dick bus drivers. I'm sorry if that's anyone out here who's a car fan or bus driver. Some of you guys are dicks. There's some bus drivers that obviously are normal.
Yeah.
You know, tap on, hello, tap off, goodbye.
Yeah.
And there's some where it's like, I can hear your music from out here, turn it down. But it's like no one said anything.
Yeah.
Or like I had a situation where I had a Coke bottle.
Yeah.
Right? Screw on that. And I took a sip out of it whilst in line. So I'm not even on the bus.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, I'm not going to allow you on with that, thank you. And I said, what do you mean? And he goes, opened drink bottles, mate, not allowed. And I'm like,
what?
Or I can just close the lid. And he goes, well, better stay on the whole time you're on my bus, mate. And I said, okay.
Jeez.
And it was a case of like, what kind of dramatic situation were you in where someone didn't open? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's those kind of bus drivers where I get it. They're trying to keep their, you know, obviously some bus drivers get some shit fucking, you know, people on their bus. But it was like why you got to put the flex on and the tough man attitude on me?
Yeah,
like,
I'm not on the bus yet.
Yeah, I'm not on the bus. And I just told him, like, or I could just put the drink in my bag and not touch it. And he goes, and the fact that he's just like, well, better not see it. It's like, well, what?
Yeah, what are you going to do?
What are you going to do? I'm not.
Is that a thing? Are you not allowed, like, food or drink on
Well,
buses?
here's the thing. I asked this question to one of the guys, and he said, apparently the rule is the only thing that can be consumed on public transportation is water. But there's signs that say no outside food or water prohibited.
So they have inside water?
That's what I mean. So that's where that rule kind of gets flipped in the air of what's okay. There's people that have literally jumped on the bus with like flipping bubble tea with the lid open, just sipping away, and people don't care.
Yeah.
And there's other bus drivers that are real strict. Like the front two, the seat literally like in front of the bus, like the first seat.
Yeah.
They will put up signs being like, no phones, no headphones, no music, no talking. What? Because it will distract the driver.
Oh, God.
But then you have the driver himself having his music playing. But as soon as I put my headphones on, he goes, if you want to listen to music, man, you got to get out of that seat. And I'm like,
oh, God.
This doesn't make sense. But hopefully that will come to an end soon.
Yeah, dude. Well, good luck.
Cheers, dude.
Yeah, you'll ace it. Sky, I'm sure Sky's gonna teach you.
Oh, dude, she's seriously helped me out in so many ways.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's just
Good egg.
yeah, trying to just not be so nervous. As I said, man, sometimes when you overthink it and you think of bad things, sometimes it just comes you know, tunnel vision. It's not a good and healthy thing, but I can admit it myself. Like, same with DJing. The amount of times where I've gone to myself being like, I am the trashiest DJ alive. I have no skill whatsoever.
Yeah.
No one's gonna fuck with me. I should just give up now.
Yeah.
And then you get told like 2 weeks later from like your favorite person ever.
Dude, that was the best set ever.
Yeah, and I guess it's like, fuck, I really need to stop overthinking shit.
Yeah, exactly. Well, like, I guess everyone is their own worst critic.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I know myself as well, more so probably with the cars than anything.
It's wicked.
You know? But then, you know, it leads on to good things. You know, if you're not second guessing yourself, well then who is going to? Like, unless you've got a big audience that, you know, you got a nice bunch of haters, like, no one's checking up on you.
Yeah, that was one thing that I liked is, I think it was Jimmy Iovine. He's like really, really successful, like music model, like mogul. He goes, if you're good at what you're doing, you'll always bet on yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, just the way that if you can get that idea of thinking, like, I always had this thing of, oh, everyone's gonna see this. And not many people will actually give a fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's not being like they don't like you, it's more of they don't take it to heart as much as, I guess, the next person.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, you know, the amount of times where I'm like, oh, I'm playing an R&B set tonight, but they really want me to play hip-hop. At the end of the day, I'm like, dude, you're playing a set, that's fine. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
chill.
Yeah.
But can't wait to just get back on that plane, start playing more.
Yeah, dude. Well, for everyone watching, where can they grab you? What are your socials?
At rfooni, AWH_Fooni. It's my last name, mispronounced and misspelled.
If you have lucky to have them on Facebook, it's Fooni. Knee like the knee.
I have to. That's the best way that I have to explain my name to people, because some people be like a Fooli, a Fooni, and like even today, like when I was around mates that are DJs, obviously they will refer to themselves as their DJ name.
Yeah.
So I tried it, and it was like, oh, and what's your DJ name? I'm like, oh fuck, people think it's my actual name. Shit. I mean, it is my actual name, but it's not. But yeah, Fooni, SoundCloud, FWNI.
Yeah.
Instagram is rfooni.
Look out on that SoundCloud, because there is.
I got a mix coming out soon.
Ooh,
End of year one. It's been funny because I've been having these visions, even during COVID. I was gonna have this thing called like the sick mix. It's so trashy and dumb. The sound is ridiculous. But like just weird little mixes throughout COVID. But then I sort of was like, you know what? Let's try and do something else here. Like,
yeah. Well, I'm a follower, so see you guys in the next one. Catch ya. Bye.